Good morning, and welcome to this special All Souls Litany and Requiem service when we honor and remember those in our congregation and our community who have died in the last year. This service will include Requiem in D minor with Gabriel Faure. As we begin, please join us in our gathering hymn, Abide with Me. And now, as we begin, please join us in our gathering hymn, Abide With Me. Again, I want to welcome you to worship at First Unitarian Church in Portland, Oregon. Our mission is to nurture the individual spirit and together work toward the beloved community. We are glad you are with us. I have several announcements today. Next Sunday, November 7th, we will reopen our worship service for limited in-person attendance. There will be a link for reservations in the final slide at the end of service today and in this week's e-news. Vaccinations and masks will be required. Our reopening and a complete return to in-person church will take some time. During the next several months, we will continue to be served by some mixture of our choirs and quartet. So thank you, singers and musicians, for continuing with us through this journey. And thank you, community, for your patience and forbearance as we adapt to our new systems. We will, of course, continue to live stream our service, so please join us online at our usual 11 a.m. service if you are not attending in person. Also, next Sunday, you are invited to join our monthly social justice community gathering from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. This special hour of spiritual renewal is for anyone concerned about or engaged with issues of justice, whether or not you are part of a church action group. Join us for readings, music, reflection, and a time to get to know one another. Our justice work is done together, and we hope you will consider yourself a part of our beloved justice community. And it so happens that next Sunday is also the beginning of daylight savings time. Please remember to set your clocks back or fall back by 1 hour. Later this week, the Ministerial Search Committee invites you to register for Beyond Categorical Thinking workshop Friday evening, November 5th, and Saturday morning, November 6th. This workshop is designed by the Unitarian Universalist Association to promote inclusive thinking and help prevent unfair discrimination in the search process for a new senior minister. All congregants, and especially church leaders, are invited. To register, see the front steps or the Ministerial Search Committee's webpage on the church website for the registration link. And please sign up by this Thursday. Finally, immediately following this service, you are invited to join fellow congregants in our weekly virtual social hour. You can find the web address and QR code on a slide following the service. You can also see our weekly e-news or go to the church website for these and other church events. Once again, welcome everyone. Reverend Tom will now light our chalice here in the sanctuary. If you have a candle or a chalice at home, I invite you to light it now as well. We are Unitarian Universalists. We light this chalice in faith, in hope, and in love.
Words of Alice Walker. To acknowledge our ancestors means we are aware that we did not make ourselves, that the line stretches all the way back, perhaps to God or to gods. We remember them because it is an easy thing to forget that we are not the first to suffer, rebel, fight, love, and die. The grace with which we embrace life, in spite of the pain, the sorrow, is always a measure of what has gone before. As we gather in this season of All Souls, come now and let us worship together. Please join as we sing together, "Comfort Me."
Comfort
Please join now in our responsive reading. It's All Souls by May Sarton. Did someone say that there would be an end, oh, an end to love and mourning? What has been once so interwoven cannot be raveled, nor the gift ungiven. Now the dead move through all of us, still glowing. Mother and child, lover and lover mated, are wound and bound together and inflowing. What has been plaited cannot be unplaited. Only the strands grow richer with each loss. And memory makes kings and queens of us. Dark into light, light into darkness spin. When all the birds have flown to some real haven, we who find shelter in the warmth within listen and feel new cherished, new forgiven, as the lost human voices speak through us and blend our complex love, our mourning without end. Please join now as we sing together our doxology, Spirit of Life.
This annual Requiem service, funded by our music ministry, has quickly become a tradition here at First Unitarian, now in its 5th year. Your gifts help us to be able to bring this wonderful music and these wonderful musicians to our sanctuary and help to secure more services like this in the future. We are so grateful that we are able to rely on your spirit of generosity to sustain the fullness of our ministry. Please scan the QR code or click the Donate Now link in Boxcast to take part. Thank you.
This is the time each week when we hold up the cares and concerns of our community life together. You can send your prayer requests to be held by our ministers and lay ministers to prayer@firstunitarianportland.org. As we near the winter holiday season, we know it can be especially difficult after the loss of a loved one or the ending of a significant relationship. If you are mourning a loss, you might consider a class that begins on November 13th called Living with Loss: How Will I Get Through the Holidays? Facilitated by Reverend Wendy Fish and Kristen Guest, the class will be an opportunity for learning about the grief process, sharing and listening to each other's stories, and will offer ideas for holiday plans. To register, go to the church website or check your weekly e-news. I have some parish concerns to share today as well. Member Debbie Ogden died early yesterday morning, October 30th, after entering hospice care just a few days before. Debbie was 95 years old and joined our church in 2016. Debbie was part of our Wellspring program and was a regular at our Friday Vespers service. We hold her family at this time of loss. Member Warren White asks for our prayers. Warren suffered a stroke after an infection to his new kidney. He is now dealing with blindness and weakness. We hold Warren and send him healing energy and prayers for strength. And we hold member Elizabeth Britt. She is having some health issues and will undergo abdominal surgery on November 15th. Cards and calls are welcome, and we please ask you to hold Britt in your thoughts and prayers. Will you pray with me? Let's begin by arriving in this moment together, and I invite you to take a conscious breath. Spirit of life and love, Goddess of many names and no name, ancestors, be with us. There is so much to hold and be present to. Losses in our bodies, in our families, in our communities, in this troubled and wondrous world. Many among us are aching and grieving today, sometimes wondering how we will survive our losses, our worries and pain. So, Spirit, we give thanks for this sacred time when we bring our hearts, our sadness, fears, and worries for witness in this community. Though just now we cannot look into each other's eyes, may we know that we each have a place among us in this community and on this earth. May we accept and honor that our grief and fears are a part of the wholeness of our humanity. May we find ease in knowing that we are cared for and that we can offer our care and love for one another. Great Spirit, we also give thanks for the wonders and cycles of life. May the beauty of the red, yellow, brown leaves that fall to blanket the ground remind us of the brilliant design of nature's cycles. May we know that as the leaves fall, they nourish and protect the soil for another year of growth and renewal. Spirit, help us remember the return of the longer, colder nights as an invitation into a season of slowness and restoration. May we celebrate the rain as an elemental blessing of water, restoring our rivers, saturating the earth to nourish the deep roots of our siblings, the trees. And may the cycles of our own breath draw us into the beauty and miracle of our lives. Let us each offer ourselves and one another grace, generosity, and compassion as we wind our way through the range of our human experience. Amen. Let's hold a time of silence together for prayer and meditation. Our reading today is When Great Trees Fall by Maya Angelou. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder. Lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly. Our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory, suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing, electric vibration. Our senses, restored, never to be the same, whisper to us. They existed. They existed. We can be and be better, for they existed.
Did someone say that there would be an end, oh, an end to love and mourning? So asked the poet May Sarton in our responsive reading from earlier in the service. This is an important day each year when we name and honor those in our community and from our larger world who have died this year. And maybe this year those losses are especially present for us. A year and a half into the COVID pandemic has been a time when death and the precariousness of life have been so very present. Our country has seen almost 750,000 deaths due to COVID, and there have been an estimated 5 million deaths worldwide. It has been a time for many of us to be reminded of just how privileged we may be to be able to work from home and have our groceries delivered, to make choices about what we do and what we don't do. But we have also learned that even our privilege can't keep us safe completely. Death has just felt a lot closer in so many ways in these many months. And this time of remembering is not, of course, limited to those we've lost this year. The losses we will name in the litany this morning are perhaps those that are most present, the most charged, and hopefully with time can come some perspective and some healing. But some of our losses take a long time to come to terms with, if we ever come to terms with them. And what I think we learn is that any loss can remind us of all the other losses we carry, all the losses we've known throughout our lives. And some of those losses may be carried someplace deep, deep inside us for our whole lives. Let us make a space to remember all those losses this day as well. I'm thinking of women who have experienced losses during pregnancy. That could be through miscarriage, through the difficult choice to have an abortion. Those are the losses that can be so very private and so very unnoticed. I'm thinking of those who have experienced the loss of a loved one through violence, and especially this year and especially in our city, especially because of gun violence, but violence in all of its forms. Coming to terms with those losses may be difficult, if not impossible. And I'm thinking of so many losses that are simply difficult to fit into some larger order of things. Losses where it can be just difficult to find our way forward. Losses we may never fully understand. In this gathering, in this community, may we make a space to bring all of those losses. May we have a space to bring them, whether they've happened in this past year or they happened many years ago, whether they are named or unnamed, whether we have found our way forward or are still very much searching for that path. And perhaps to be mindful that we don't always know the losses any one of us may be carrying. Maybe the person right next to us. Sometimes they can carry with them guilt or shame. Some of them may just be too tender to name out loud, whether we talk about them or not. To remember the need for kindness and understanding in how we are with each other. May this community that we strive to be worthy of a name beloved be a place for us to bring all the losses that we bring, all of our losses, and may it be a space for us to bring our healing too. In our coming together, may we all find ourselves on that path of healing as we strive to bring those we have lost forward with us, recognizing how we are changed because they existed, recognizing our sorrows, yes, but the gifts we've been given too. Hear now the litany of those in our congregation and in our larger community and in our larger world we have lost this year.
Janice Clark, Everett Goodwin, T. Allen Bethel, Julie Pooley, Christopher Vin Jones, Joanna Catherine Beebe, Audrey Potter, Al Ringquist,
Philip Knoll, Bob Atkins, Cheryl Macy, June Tyler Rogers, Suzanne Okrasinski Smith, Tom Ruddy, Fred Daggett, Mike O'Donnell,
Chris Craig, Robert Gilson, Ted Olson, Richard Feldman, James Thomas Smith, Jalen Yocum, Ron Lansing, Ronan Helsing,
David Korn, Jan Harris, Eric Weaver, Jeff Steyer,
William Flavel, Roger Wesley, Lester Lee Thomas, Tom Alexander, Marjorie Thomas Good, Christy Ann Bauer, Saida Kappel, Robert Manners,
Molly Anderson, Joel Linwood Jones, Robster Gondway Zunda, Guy Ballard, Ian Mauser,
J.J. Young, Martha Cutita, John Cobb Cooper, Robert Wesley Terry, Majara Kone, Thomas Michael Galista, John Martin, Dan Duncan,
Alex Trebek, Mike Mason, Kathy Gibbons, Barry Westerwick, Marcel Theo Hall, Janina Mendoza, Lucille Bridges, Jan Morris,
Eric Carl, Walter Mondale, Beverly Cleary, Margene Collins, Virginia Sprague, Sebastian Francisco Perez, Jim Broadbent, Kim Hampton,
Leslie Brickus, Paul Daniel,
Mary Wilson, Earl Simmons, Ted Nelson, Jonathan Sachs, Jerome Anthony Aguiar, Philip Mountbatten, Debbie Ogden,
Will you pray with me now? Spirit of life and of love, hold us now in your tender, in your steady mercy. Hold us in our mourning. Hold us in our remembering. Hold us as we find our way forward without those we've lost. Call us to a place of gratitude for the blessings we have known, and help us to find our way to forgiveness, to healing, to peace and understanding, that we may know moments of grace along the way too. For the many blessings we have known, we give thanks. Amen. During this next part of the Requiem, Dana and I will light candles of remembrance for our losses named and for the many unnamed. Please join now as we sing together our closing hymn. Let the life I've lived. As you go from this service today, may we bring all of those who have gone before us forward in our own living. As we have been blessed, may we be blessings. This is the day we've been given. Let us rejoice in it and be glad. Go in peace. Practice love. Amen.